Hello, everyone. So here we are back at it, episode number 4 of the Coming Together of Greatness podcast. Your host, Adriana and Joanne. We are so excited to have you and to be here with you and have you here. And today's subject, it is one that's going to go deep for all of us. It is about taking action from this place, like the embodiment. Last episode, we talked about searching and trying to embody and understand actually what that meant for us to reach our greatness or to be like godlike and to really know that. And now it's kind of we're going in the same direction because we are talking about action, but action from that place where you know your greatness. And that comes always from like the inner dialogue, from the inside out. And I want to ask Joanne how she feels. And then you take the actions that you can see outside of you
Mhm.
because it's always from the inside out. It's always all about you, always everything moves through you. So this one will be one for the to celebrate in the
Yes.
future and today also.
Mhm. Yeah. Hi, everybody. This is a big one for me. It feels like there's a lot of energy behind this one. It feels very potent and it's also very personal, this kind of conversation. And just I looked down at my page at something that I wrote down just before we began or before we got on the call is I feel that this conversation is really about action in its truest form. Because I think from my own perspective and my own experience in life, action became a very distorted thing. It became a very heavy thing for me. And I think that is true for a lot of people. It's like there's has been two camps. It's either you do too much and you burn out, or you do too little and you burn out. And it's all about that I need to do, I need to do, I need to do to get what I want or to be where I want to be. And where we're bringing this conversation today, and I think in fairness, all the conversations we have is action in its truest form, is that continual coming home to the God self, to the greatness within, to who it is that we truly are. And that from that place, we decide firstly who it is that we are and how things are going to go for us. And we can decide from that true place. And this is something I'm personally moving in right now, that once we decide who we are, whatever it is we're bringing to life and we're living from that, that every action I take is the right action.
Mm,
Even if it seems to be have nothing to do with where it is that you're going, it is still the right action because I am deciding that it is.
yeah,
And that can be the hardest thing for a logical mind because we expect it to be ABC, one, two, three. And it very rarely is,
yeah,
if we are materializing a life of our dreams, a business of
yeah,
our dreams, a profession of our dreams, family of our dreams, whatever it might be.
yeah. The way I feel it, because I agree very much with the part where you can be on the doing from the masculine side of it, that you need a container to hold all your creativity. And I say this over and over again because at some point in my life, I was in a mastermind that was really good for me, 1 year long mastermind. And that in that place, I kind of learned what meant for me to be in. So the masculine is like the doing. It's the part that's holding everything, the creation that you're bringing into the world. But there is a distorted masculine where you're like go 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 and you arrive to and hustle and push to the burnout. And then there's the feminine, that's the flow of creativity and you coming and feeling and relaxing and recharging and going with that energy of knowing who you are. But there's also, that's the divine feminine, that there's also the distorted feminine where you just sit on the couch and you expect that everything to happen just because you said it will happen and you decided that. And I've been on that side too. In that mastermind, I've been from one place to another and again, like back and forward. And I realized when I was on this distorted feminine, because I haven't been that much, we hear more about the distorted masculine, push, push, hustle, grind, do the things. But the distorted feminine, in my opinion, and I want to mention this because it's true for me, was kind of me believing, and I still believe, so I want to choose my words here, believing that everything will work out for me, that I still believe, but it was kind more like an excuse
Mm.
to hide a little bit and just to be and not really face and address some inner child healing or address in which direction my life is going or my business or what I really want. Maybe this is something that I resonate more with the personality and that I have. But this is how I felt. I felt like I hit a point where I was in the distorted feminine, where like I said that I was believing, but kind of just being, like not doing anything, not really with intention, not really in a way hiding, in a way I don't even know how to explain it, but didn't feel right at the end of the day
Mhm.
and after a couple of days. So if you want to touch on that also, when you say you decide, because I very much believe and I act like this, I decide and then I go, and every action that I take and every intuition that's coming to me, I act on it because it feels good and right and aligned for me.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I don't use the same languaging anymore, but I think we can always tell if we're honest with ourselves what level of consciousness we're coming from with something. So if we're in the distorted feminine and you're laying back on the couch expecting the world to deliver or the universe to deliver for you, you know that you're not showing up in your greatness. You like, and so you just know it, but I'm not willing to accept that for myself, and
Mhm.
it's a really strange place because it can be so easy to convince yourself otherwise. So I'm
Mhm.
going with the flow, I'm letting it
Mhm. Mhm.
happen, I don't want to burn myself out again from doing too much. But in your heart, in your bones that
Yeah.
you've lied to yourself. You're abandoning yourself in that. And I think when you are making statements, declarations of everything does go my way, everything always works out for me, every action I take is the right action. It's the level of self that you're saying that from that matters.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's you as the greatness that you are, you as the true self, you as the God self, saying it no matter what your body is screaming at you, because it's if your body is screaming at you that that's not right. It's the old self at its limits. It's the brain at its limits of what it has allowed or experienced before.
Yeah.
And this is where I then personally need to use my backbone, the physicality of my backbone and the energy that it holds to lean into the truth of who I am, even when my body feels like it can't take another step or the action that I want to take. My body is and my mind is trying to convey, oh, I should wait until I feel better. I should wait until, I feel more aligned.
Mm.
But, and being your greatness, being that self that we and you and all of us are, um, we hold steady in that and we move.
Yeah.
I was, it's funny how when we decided to have this conversation, I was reading somebody's post yesterday and there was a line that she wrote in it and I just wanted to read it out because it was about action and I just thought it was perfect. And what she said was, action is required because it is, and we will get on to the difference between internal and external action shortly, but action is required not because it is the action itself that causes anything, but because the action is your decision in practice, not just in theory.
Mm.
And it just really landed for me. I just thought it was said beautifully. I hadn't seen it said like that before, heard it said like that before. And it's true. Your decision to be your true self, your decision to materialize what you want and moving for it, not just in theory, as she said.
Yeah. As you can see, I'm yawning a lot because I'm shifting the energy in the body. Every time when and I want to say this for those of you listening and watching, not just listening, seeing that I'm yawning, it's not that I'm tired. I'm tired also with
Mm.
the weather changing here. And this month has been emotionally rich, not
Mhm.
just for me, I know for people in general
Mhm.
in the collective. But I'm yawning because the energy is shifting. This is true. And I know when my energy is shifting, like what you have spoken is true for me and I relate with it. And I know then that my energy is shifting. And also the person that's in front of me, that energy is shifting also because I'm a transmitter and I can feel that. And I agree with what she said and I agree with what you said. You know in your bone, you know in your cells, you know in your body and your being when you're just like a couch potato in a way and you're just waiting for things to happen. And in a way, you're just like hiding yourself after something saying that, oh, I'm just here aligning. And you know that. We all know. I know every single day when I distract myself and I go to the old self and take some action or say some words because everything is an action. I truly believe
Yeah.
that. And it starts with what you're thinking and how you see yourself and what you believe and the energy that's behind it. And then in the like 3D world, you see that reaction in a way. And I I can see when I'm going to that. Like it's so obvious for me right now. It is so obvious that I'm not coming from that decision. And that decision, it is, at least for me, in this period in my life, I need to like reinforce that every single
Mhm.
day, multiple times per day. It's not yet instilled and embodied. That's like my nature and my normal self, if I can say it like that.
Yeah.
Normal self can mean
Yeah.
whatever, but in
Mm.
this discussion, for better words, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as I was saying to you, it's something that I'm shifting inside of myself as well, purposefully. That I was saying that for the majority of my life, defined myself as someone who wasn't good at taking action. And when you define yourself in a certain way, then reality has no other option but to show you that and the results of that. And then within that there would be the belief or the self-chatter of I don't know what to do. And the inner action that I am choosing as the God self that I am, as the center of my universe, as the greatness that I am, is every time I hear that in myself or in my system, it's there's certain statements I'm declaring to myself is that I always know what to do. I have full mental clarity. My old self disagrees with that, but I don't care anymore. I
Mm,
don't need to listen to that anymore because I know where old self brings me and I have other things to do with my life, you know? So it's, and like you, multiple times a day, it has to be said, some days, other days, not so much. But then saying things like, I always know what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. And then having the courage to trust that,
yeah,
the courage to trust your own declarations, and that you know in the moment when these things, when you get the idea, when you get the nudge, when you get whatever, that you follow it,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And it's that, and like this is my experience of how I have to do it. And everyone will have their own flavor of it. And it's what is your flavor? And it's coming back to what we spoke about in the last episode, being delusional
yeah,
about what we want to create. And so you be delusional in the identity you hold yourself into. There's nothing I cannot do. I always know what to do. Of course I do.
I love this one. I love this one with I always know what to do because it is so true.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even if you look back on your life and
Mm.
you take it from a like practical side of it,
Yeah.
from the brain, from the mind, you will see and find all the evidence that you need that you actually knew what to do in every situation.
Exactly.
Maybe not every time you acted like the greatest, like being your greatest version and this person that can do and achieve everything that she wants and can live as being godlike and part of and being God. And maybe not all the time, but you always knew what to do and what when to do it.
Hmm.
And and for me, what else? I wanted to say something regarding what you said. Like it feels that you said that you couldn't trust, like the trust part, it's so important as well. And in the action that we are taking, changing the story, being like an internal action, changing the story, exactly as you said, that you had like a belief that you were repeating and believing that you're not enough or you don't know what to do. I had like this belief since I was younger that for some reason my belly is bloated. I even did some reels about that,
Right.
and of course, over the years, that was just reinforced. Oh, of
Yeah.
course, look, you are skinny, but your belly, it's not. Like you're still bloated, even when you're skinny. And then now at 44, I went to my gynecologist and I said, that, like, I feel really bloated and inflamed. And he said, that's normal for your age. And I was like, in my mind, having this conversation. I don't believe that, skeptical, because that's not my truth. It's not something that I
Hmm.
believe. But even though I had this inner dialogue, I went on talking about the same story and repeating. The repetition is the mother of learning. We have this saying in Romania. And I did that. And it's actually exactly that. So even when you decide, be aware that the old is gonna come because you went through that. It's like you go into in the snow on the same path and you can see your foot like feet
Mm.
on the snow still. It's the same, like you're just repeating and repeating and repeating. It's part of you. It's a thought and it's a belief, and it's part of your identity. But then you decide that and you decide again and you decide again and you shift the story. An action it is for you to rewrite that story to something exactly you said. I always know what to do. I have so much clarity. And for me, like I can be in the best shape of my life in my 40s and 50s and 60s if I want. And my belly can be so flat and my stomach so, my core so strong because I say so, because I decide. You decide, the universe responds, and then everything realigned. That's the exactly the base of the conversation, as you said it at the
Yeah.
beginning.
I love that. I love that you brought that conversation in about your body as well, because that's something that I have experienced as well. It's like, oh, my belly is never flat. It's always this and that. And I remember hearing, I think it was Dolores Cannon. I used to listen to her a little bit. And she said, and it's resonated with me since, and it's something that I have become very aware of recently, that your inner voice to your body is the voice of God. And it's if we're saying, oh, my belly's fat, it's bloated, it's whatever. Well, your body can only do what you say it can do,
Yeah.
you know? And it's really coming back to this central truth of how my work and all of that is it's all about you.
Mm.
Your body is the 3D world as much as the outside world is the 3D world. It can only respond. You hear of people doing amazing things with their body, healing, getting taller, you know, all of the things, so many things.
Yeah.
And we have the power to do that. We are wired completely to do that. And it's like you were saying, it's you make the decision, but you make the decision over and over and over until it's your normal self. Excuse me, as you said
Yeah.
earlier. And that's where most of us fall apart in it. Because if we have to decide 10,000 times, our old self can convince us we're doing it wrong. That if we were
Or we
doing
are
it
not good
right,
enough. Why
yeah,
I need to decide so
yeah.
many times?
If this was real, it would be happening already. I would feel a certain way. I would be doing a certain way. I would be all of this. And the how I choose to see it is the greatness that we hold ourselves in, the true identity that we hold ourselves in. The more we embody that and align ourselves with that, the ideas, the actions, the thoughts, the feelings just become obvious. They just become part of who we are in the same way as when I was telling myself I didn't know what to do, the actions that that identity held. I didn't question them. So I was going to sit and watch TV. You know, I'm just going to do nothing. Actions that that identity held. But then if we have an idea that's like us doing this podcast or having an idea to reach out to somebody or something, we'll question that instead of I'm just going to do it, find out and see what happens.
Yeah.
Because everything always works out for me.
Oh my God, it's so true. And if we don't want to look at it this way, exactly the way you put it, so you sit on the couch and you don't do nothing and you just find that to be your truth and to be
Mm,
normal and to be
mm,
what you need to do. And then when you go on the other side and you say, I'm going to reach to that person, I'm going to do that, then the brain is like, no, 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 wait, maybe, wait, stay here. Maybe it's not good. Maybe I don't know if you're like, we don't question because it's so familiar and so ingrained in us. Now we start to question. This is what we are doing in this podcast. We start to question and going, but I mean, so many of us for so many years, we
yeah.
didn't question that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this came in my mind, like that conspiracy in a way, because the word is coming and it's not a conspiracy. It's more like you hear those things, you've heard them many, many years back in Romania in the communism, growing up, be a good girl, stay that, you cannot do
Mm,
that, only the man, or you don't have, you're not allowed to get out of the country, you cannot do that, it's too much for you. Our family it's wants to be happy, not wealthy, or all the things, all the beliefs that other people had. And I know there are intentional things put on us to believe that and to be in a box. And
mm,
we've been there for many years, but now it's different because so many of us, or at least I know it's not that a big of a percentage, but still us here, you listening, everybody one listening, the both of us having this conversation, it is because you know better now. And that version of you can come back so many times, and that's fine, that's perfect. We know that
mm.
too, that will try to bring us back where it's familiar and feels comfortable. But now you know best, and now you can decide, and now you can reinforce a belief, and now a way of living, a lifestyle, however you want to call it, and just go on the other side and be there as much as you can and enjoy that side. Because we, even though we were in pain or suffering or having challenging moments, we enjoyed that version to be there as well.
Yeah.
Because that was what we knew.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We didn't know until you know you don't know,
Yeah.
and that's just it. And then when you do know, sometimes it can take a little bit of time to move with that, and that's also okay, you
Yeah.
know. And I felt to say this as well that the more we embody our greatness, the more we decide to be who it is that we are, the more we choose our true self. It doesn't mean that we need to be on the go all the time. You can and it's like coming back to what I was saying earlier, that it's the level of consciousness that with from which you're doing it. From what and you can sit on the couch and watch TV as your full true self. And you're no, you're not concentrating on anything, you're not doing anything, but then something comes up into your mind, like, okay, I'm going to follow that. I'm going to finish what I'm doing and then I'm going to go and do that. Whereas from my experience, I was trying to force ideas out of my mind. I was trying to force actions to take. And it just didn't roll for me because it was coming from a level of consciousness of things are really hard. I have to push so hard to make things happen. And even when I do push hard, it doesn't work. All of these things. And it's so important to know old self. That phrase, know thyself, know
Mhm.
who you are, know how you've been conditioned and how the decisions you've made, the inner laws that you've lived by. Because as you were saying, when you make the shift, they're going to come up. And we need to know how to recognize them. We need to like hear the thoughts. We need to, if you're a very like kind of emotionally based, energy based person, know how that feels in your body.
Yeah.
so that you can adjust as necessary. So you can see, oh, this nervousness or anxiousness that I'm feeling in my chest, it's just old self. It's not an indicator of how things are going to go unless I allow it to be, you know? And
Yeah.
it's that, coming back to Jesus, it's like peace be with you.
Mm.
Let that real peace. And for me, that's the backbone as well, the peace that lies in the sturdiness of the backbone.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I love that. And it's so interesting that you said about peace. I have been craving peace for many, many, many years because of
Mm.
how I was growing up with my father drinking a lot. And I remember when I started running and I was living in the other house, not the house that we own. I was in a park and I was running and all of the sudden it just hit me. You have the family that you wanted always to have, and you have the peace that you always crave to have. And it's so interesting that you said that, and that's so important for you because for me, even in my teachings and in my coaching and guidance, like power and peace, they are always there, like being in your power and feeling at peace. Like I believe they are always interconnected because if you're feeling at peace with everything that's happening and with yourself, you are in your power. And when you are in your power, then you are at peace with everything. So this is big for me and has always been. But I want to ask you something. So since we started the conversation, I started yawning, but I feel, and I know now that when I feel a little bit dizzy, so I always have some flip-flops at home. I took off the flip-flops, I put my feet on the ground to feel like it's a little bit cooler and to ground myself because I feel like it's a little bit dizziness in my head. And I know that I'm quantum leaping when I'm like that because it doesn't feel like me like normal me in a way. And I'm like expanding, if I can say it like that. And I know it's coming from you as well, because when we started the conversation and yawn and feel your energy and then yawn again and feel the energy and transmute the energy, it's like all of a sudden, all this work that you've been doing and I've been doing on myself and together with this podcast just kind of collapsed it in my body. And I
Mm.
felt the dizziness of it. And now I'm coming a little bit more into my normal sensations in the body, if I call it like that. How you feel when when, and I said quantum leap or whatever expansion, whatever words you want to put at it,
Yeah.
because you've been doing this work, and I can feel in your energy, and I can even see it in your face that it's not that you are at the end of it, because we are always growing and expanding, but for sure you move through a lot of it. I can feel it. And how you feel when you expand and when you feel like I'm a little bit on the other side of some stories or a couple of stories that I've been working
Mm.
on another reality and another identity.
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely feel it in my head first in a similar kind of way. It's like things kind of
Get
get
dizzy.
not, yeah, floaty or dizzy, or there's there's almost these are, I don't know, there's almost like there's a disconnect in some way,
Mm-hmm.
and there's almost like there's a choice point being offered in the dizziness, if that makes sense. Am I
Yes.
going to follow this and ground that in, or am I going to just float back to where I've always been?
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and I've never thought about it in that way, but that's definitely it. And I think for me, it is, especially with this year, especially, or these last number of months, it's the continual decision point and the no matter what I am feeling or what I am thinking or what the outside world is presenting, I know that's from the old. I'm choosing to believe that's from the old and that I'm standing firm in who I am. Because it's like we said before we started this podcast, I want to find out the fullness and the totality of what it is that I can do and who it is that I truly am.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that answers your question very well.
Oh, yeah. No, you
Yeah.
you answered at the
Yeah.
beginning. It's exactly that, exactly what you say, the dizziness in the head, and you feel like you're going in, and I always feel like I'm going towards my right side. Or
Mm.
at least now I felt that I'm going towards my right side of the body and that I'm choosing that. And the moment I asked the question, it was like an embodiment of this is where I'm going, and this quantum leap I'm taking in, I'm open to taking it and embodying it, because it's kind of that veil went a little bit. I'm still dizzy a little bit, but went
Mm.
down. And when you said it, it's like that point of choice. What was exactly the symptoms that I was having. Yeah.
Yeah. And for how I've been moving with it, it's becoming stronger. It's the backbone physicality as well, using my spine as the grounder for that decision. It's like, okay, I'm choosing all of that I'm saying is true. When the dizziness kicks in, it's like we
Mm.
use our body, the physicality that it is, the greatness that it is.
I ground myself. I don't use the backbone. I ground myself with my feet a
Yeah.
lot. Like
Mm.
I really need to like take a couple of deep breaths in and feel the feet on the ground. This is
Mm.
actually what I'm doing always in my in my membership. I start sometimes when I feel like the session is going in a direction, I'm always like bring everybody back and ground and know that you're loved and safe, and it's safe. That space is safe,
Yeah.
because when I'm channeling, what I'm doing a lot in all of my offerings, sometimes you can go like it feels like this, like you're not in your body, and then I just ground. But it's so beautiful that this came up in this session, because it's such a testament of the work you've been doing and I've been doing and pouring into the world through this podcast and other things that we are doing on socials and in our lives. And this shows that inner work and inner action that we've been taking. And for those of you that feel the same, because this is why I wanted to bring it for us, but always for the people that are listening also, to like, if you're always like, when I'm so dizzy, what I'm feeling like, when you
Mm.
feel like everything is kind of going down and not going in the direction that you want, that I know at least that I'm counting, leaping, and going in the direction that I want actually. It's the reality looks different, that you're going to the old self. But for me, I know when I'm like this, it's more I'm going where I want,
Mm.
because I know how I feel in my old self. And I already know that version of me and that identity, and I'm steady in it.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm doubting it, because it's there, it have been there with me for a long time. But it's more the doubt and the dizziness when you go in the direction, seeing how far you can go. And I love the fact I really want to see how far I can go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was one of the first things that not the first, but one of the biggest things that we kind of connected over is that innate desire of that. And I think so many people have that. I want to know everything that I can do. And there was something I wanted to say. Oh, yeah, like coming back to action, if it's an external action, you can do the same thing and have nothing happen from it. And if you acknowledge that you've been doing it from the old self, the one who is constricted and has doubts and not believing in herself, then that's the only possible outcome. But when you hold yourself steady in your greatness and you maybe take the same action, it's going to shift things in a completely different way, because it's coming back to what the quote that I read out. It's not about the actual action. It's about you as the one taking the action
Mm,
is the thing. And why that came in is that I just had memories of signing up for courses or working with coaches or working with marketing people. Because it's like, if you just tell me what to do, I'll do it and then it'll work. The ABC. And didn't, didn't work.
I know.
you know? But then it would be like, well, why did it work for other people? Why didn't it work for me? And I think that's where a lot of people might get lost in themselves, because you're coming back to self-blame, you're coming back to comparison, you're coming back to all the things. And when we decide to be our true self, and to bring forth the greatness that's always within us to the outside, then we will see why those actions didn't work. We will see, I'll speak for myself, I have seen why I blocked myself from them working and all of the things. And I can see why some actions will never work for me because they're not aligned with my values. They're not aligned with how I see the world.
Yeah.
And I can still do what it is that I want to do, but I'm doing it from who I choose to be, not from who I think I should be or anything like that.
Yeah. And it's so interesting as well. Like you can see even coaches that have done this, exactly this. They take action from that identity, they work on them. I know them. I've been working with them, and I believe you also. But they arrive to a point where that version is no longer their truth, and then
Mm,
they need to shift and go and in a way search and embody the next one and take action from that, because what they've done before and it was true and worked, now it's not working anymore. And
yeah.
this is, you don't need to be in this like coaching industry, or
No.
doing, you can be in your career, in your relationships is the same. You realize after a while that you have been friends with people and all of a sudden you don't have anything, or you don't have anything to share with them, or you change so much, then when you start sharing who you truly are, your true
Mm,
self, they are like backing like down and asking like, you're funny, you're speaking different, oh, come back to yourself, or like things like that. And you're like, this is who I am. And I've
yeah.
heard a lot of things over the years, like, you're too kind, oh, this is, you're just trying to I don't know, to be too nice with people, or some of them told me in my face or not. But actually, I've been always this positive and kind of trying to uplift others and empower others. And at some point, people saw that like people pleasing. And I said
Mm,
this before, and in different other things as well, like, oh, your life is so easy, but you don't know what I'm doing and you don't know the work that I'm doing. I have created this life. You can run in the middle of the day. Yeah, because this is what I've created and believe in. And life is still. It is about that decision. I am God made. I know who I am. Everything is possible for me. Whatever, all
yeah.
those believe the greatness that is inside of you. I want to see how far I can go. I want to see how more I can expand and be and do. and and I don't need to, how can I say this, to like, you go through these phases, and when you start explaining yourself, it's like you're going back to
Yeah.
the old self. But the more you're like, if they don't understand me, that's fine, I understand myself, and I love the version of me, this version. And then people, relationship, projects, clients can drop and get lost. And something else that we talked before, like hitting record, it was us trying to act as that version that we want to be. And if you want to get a little bit deep with that, because I loved what you said, we all try to, we hear all the time, like, act as that version, be like that, embody that version. How is that? Because the more I'm trying to do it, it's like I'm going backwards sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I'm just feeling it and the side, I just let myself go with what's coming to my
Hmm.
intuition.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd forgotten that we'd spoken about that. But yes, and this is somewhere I got lost as well. It's with the future self. Oh, well, if I can just be my future self, if I can align with her, and it's the same thing, it's from my own experience, I was trying to figure out, well, how will I feel when I have X, Y, and Z? What will I think? What actions will I take? Trying to figure it out logically.
Hmm.
And I couldn't for the most part. I might have glimpses of it, I
Hmm.
might have moments of it, but how I've decided to move forward with that is I just decide now how I feel. I decide now what I think. I decide now that I know the actions to take, even if my logical mind is telling me that I don't. Because in truth, all that exists is now. Even when you're in the middle of a quantum leap or a shift or whatever, you're only ever here now anyway.
Mm, yeah.
And so, as the woman who has the house of her dreams, the business of her dreams, the career of her dreams, the relationship, whatever it is, decide now, this is who I am. I am the woman that always shows up in her best. I am the woman who loves her life and always knows what to do. I am divinely guided. I am, I trust myself always, whatever it might be. And the more we hold from my experience, the more we hold ourselves in that identity, in that truth, the more you will feel it. And it's not a manufactured feeling. It's a natural feeling that comes up, the more thoughts that come along with it. And therefore the actions and the ideas come along with it.
Yeah.
Because I spent with future, and I know a lot of people still work with future self, but for me, it just didn't work. It kept me separated. It kept me separated from my greatness. But that, that's from my own conditioning. And this is how things work for some people and don't work for other people, you know?
Exactly.
So, but for me, it's like I bring it all into now.
Mm,
And when I use my imagination, I'm in my imagination to experience it, not to get anything from it, but just to simply experience it,
mm, I
you
love
know.
that. For me, because I have struggled with this as well. Like I've sometimes I got glimpses, like you said, like I felt it in some ways, but what helped me was to imagine and feel the end result of something that I wanted. That really helped me, like, and for really short periods of time, because if you let me stay in something, my mind will come for sure into the game, into the play, and I will not be there for long. But if it's like glimpses and like short shots of a picture in my mind,
Yeah.
then it's working and I feel it and I can feel it in the body. And lately I've been asking myself, like during the day, am I taking this action? Or even when I relax, am I feeling that I am that? I'm the greatest that I can be. I am connected with everything. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. Everything happens for me. Like I'm the luckiest. I love to say lately, like I'm the luckiest person I know.
Oh, I've been saying
And
that too. I love that.
and I have different, like I have my bracelet that reminds me of that 88 numbers, like butterflies, things on. I choose a couple of signs to remind me, in a way, who I am, and and then I feel it. And then sometimes what's interesting, what comes for me, because just it was more of the feeling, and I'm working with the body a lot. All of the sudden, my awareness and my brain comes and say, "Oh, you're not acting as her." And that version that you want to be. Oh, look here, you're distracted. Look, you've done a couple, you took the same action, you reacted the same in a situation that you've done before. But it's not, because also I say myself all the time, it's not about shame, blame. It's the direction that you want to go. You are choosing this. You're don't put shame on yourself or anybody else. It's more about me. I'm not trying to get anybody into what I'm believing, and working through myself for myself and then with my clients. But I'm what's interesting and I love it is the fact that my brain is catching up with what I'm feeling in my heart, because
Yeah.
we had this discussion last time as well, like the congruence between the heart and the mind. And I can hear like I have the thoughts like, oh, you're going there, you don't want to go there, you're not acting like her, like that version that you say that you want to be. Yeah.
Mhm. I love that. And like when, well, how I see that is that that's when the ego becomes the servant instead of the
Mm.
master, because the ego keeps us safe. It's like, oh, wait, you're coming away from your greatness now. Let's direct things back instead of, and I like for me that it took me a while to get that. Because, being in the spiritual world for a very long time, you wanted to get rid of the ego and all of these
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
But I can't remember the full. There was a Sufi saying about that, about the ego being the servant of the greatness that you are. That's not correct, but all of that, what you're experiencing, when you notice, when you catch yourself, the ego is serving you.
Mm.
The ego
Yeah.
is serving the greatness instead of the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said depends of what. So for everybody listening, you take what works for you.
Yes.
Because as you can see, Joanne has the things that works for her. I have mine. And we are all different and unique, and this is the beauty of every one of us because
Mm,
we are so different. You take whatever works for you, and again, what we are sharing here, I'm gonna say this from my perspective that I always say to everybody in my life. You take what resonates and you put aside what doesn't. You don't have to relate with everything that I'm saying or everything that we are saying or experiencing or the way we do it or the way we feel it or the way we understand it. You just take what resonates, take that, reflect on that, integrate if that feels good, and then move with
mm,
whatever comes out from that.
mm. Yeah, I agree with that completely. And it comes back again to it's all about you. You're the one who decides. You're the center of your universe. There's
Yeah.
somebody I follow, he's got an excellent channel on YouTube, The Power of I Am, and he says that it's the law of whatever the fuck works, works. You know? It's you don't have to follow all the universal laws, you don't have to all of it. It's whatever
I love
works,
that.
works, you know? And take ownership of it.
Yes, yes. Take
And
ownership.
that's the thing.
Yeah. That's a big part of my messaging of what I believe in too. Because I've started creating like this offer around my own woman back while back because I felt that I haven't like I didn't own my truth with my
Mm,
friends and in my life, like really being truthful. I believe this, I believe that manifestation work, and this was years back,
yeah.
like before everybody like talking about it. And also like being the way that I am, being more serious, being more deep in the conversation, not being so light and always like laughing about the things and speaking about, I don't know, men or whatever. It's not that's bad. Everybody does whatever they want to do. But I've always been different in a way. Like I felt that I've been, and I feel different sometimes with my friends, and that's not wrong, good or bad.
No.
That's who I am, and
Yeah.
I'm owning that. And they are who, and I sometimes say to my oldest daughter, it's not about you don't need to be like me or anybody else. I'm just saying we were talking about values and principles. I have mine. What are yours?
Mm,
And how in being part of a family or a collective or a group of people at work, at school, how you stay in yours and how you respect others in theirs. So that ownership of being who you are, your values, your principles, that's always so big. And keeping my word has always been like this guiding light for me
mm,
to be in life. This is who I am. But in like years back, maybe 6, 7, 8, 10, more than 10 years, I wasn't like this. I was like going a little bit like a leaf in the wind,
mm,
not being steady in who I am. And
mm.
this ownership and responsibility part of who I am, it's extremely important and part of my journey 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very similar to that. And it brings back a woman whose world we have both been in. And I remember her saying sometime, my word is law.
Melanie.
Yeah. My word is law. And that starts with me first.
Yes.
I do my best to keep my words as law to others, but for me first, when I declare the truth of who I am, that is law. And I'm not going to abandon myself to old beliefs or to how other people want me to be or to what I think it might be acceptable in the outside world. My world is law, or my word is law.
Yeah.
And that has been one of the most challenging things for me, really, because choosing to speak about God in the way we speak about it, choosing to speak about greatness in the way we speak about it, it doesn't feel comfortable a lot of the time because, you know, I presume there's going to be judgment, there's going to be people talking against it, people doubting what we're saying, all of these things.
Yeah. I
And
presume that too
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, and choosing to make life all about me means that my word is law to me.
Yeah.
And I think this is the path, the avenue, the whatever, that we discover how great we can be and what it is that we can bring to life. because I've tried multiple different ways and it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So this is it. My word is law.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it doesn't work out, or it does in a way, but that doesn't in a way that feels good for you,
Yeah.
or it's not, you cannot keep it for a long time because it's distorted, it's not who you
Mhm.
are.
Yeah.
That's this is why we need to come back to, and your word needs to be law. And for me, my word is very important and has been important when I gave my word. Before was more of that. Now it's a lot of both, of
Mm.
both. Like
Mm.
even with my kids, sometimes you know how kids try to manipulate you because of their emotions and try to have whatever they want to have. And I'm not saying to blame, of course. I'm
Yeah.
not going to blame my kids, but sometimes I need to be steady and to say, you're thinking more about you. What about me?
Hmm.
Because you know what? Now I can understand, and people come, and even my friends saying, oh, that they don't understand, the logic, it starts to develop until 25 years, when you are 25 years old. And I said, I know that, but you know something else? They learn over the years. And you know what? If I don't say I'm important too, when they gonna grow up and be my age, they will believe that they are not important. And I don't want that. I want to be respected now for me. And I
Hmm.
also want my girls, the three of them, to understand when you are growing up, you can speak your mind, you can speak your truth, you can take your time, you can relax with your kids, with your partner, with people in general, everybody. Because if I'm waiting until 25 when they have their logics or like understand only the concept in their mind, I'm not talking only about that. I'm talking about what you're feeling here and what you know it is. It's not just about being right, but it's also right, but it's more like you are being in your power and you're taking care of yours as well. You matter at any age.
Hmm.
And I know them to know that. Yeah.
I love that. And that it feels like it has kind of circled round to action in its truest form. It all starts within. It starts and ends within, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I know I knew who I am and I know how I want to be treated. And I matter. And then I said that to them. And at the end was again about what we are at inside and who
Mm.
they are and who they will be also in
Mhm.
the future. As
Yeah,
you said, everything is created in the present moment. The past was created in the present moment, and the future is created here as well. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And even when the things that we're bringing to life materialize, they do so in that moment
Yeah.
also, you know? And are we willing and committed to continually take that interaction of holding steady as the one who brings that to life no matter what and always knows what to do so that it can materialize? And that's one of the greatest calls to action I think that we all have.
Yeah.
And that if it feels sticky, let it feel sticky. If it feels easeful, let it feel easeful.
Mm.
And that's
Oh,
the biggest
yeah.
thing that I'm learning.
I love that. Yeah, because people are so afraid that, oh, it doesn't feel good. Oh, what
Yeah,
about what other people are saying?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but let it be the way it is
Yes,
and move through it and move with it and be that version with everything.
exactly. And peace arises from that, as does power.
Yeah.
Because you're immovable if you're moving that way. So there's serious power in that.
Ooh, I love
Mhm.
our conversation always makes me feel so good. And now I feel more grounded. It's like I'm coming back to
Yeah.
myself. It makes me like realize this is why I love doing and I still love doing having these conversations with you and doing the podcast because the way you reflect and the way you carry yourself and the way you're so in your power doing these things. And I know it doesn't feel right. I know some people will say like, yeah, but when I'm doing this, it doesn't feel right, but doesn't mean that you're not in your power. You're actually
Yeah.
so brave of just by having this conversation and going through all this hard stuff inside of you, like a little kid that's always heard that inner child that, oh, I cannot do this. And you're just moving through it. It's
Yeah.
always such a pleasure and such an honor to have these conversations with you.
Yeah. And it really is, from my perspective, an honor and a pleasure having them with you as well. And just one thing, last thing to say, and it's something that it's taken me a while to get to, is that it's not always going to feel safe.
Mm,
And that's in the world of feminine energetics, let me say it this way. Safety is a big thing. And it is said you need to feel safe before you're not always going to feel safe because you're banging up against the walls of your subconscious. You're banging up against the walls of your old self. So it's not going to feel safe always. And that's okay.
I agree.
You will know the difference whether you are in danger or whether it just feels not
Oh,
safe.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll know the difference.
If you've done this work 100%, you will
Yeah.
know the difference. And I
Mhm.
agree with you. Because for some people, and I want to say this, for some people, yeah, they can arrive to that point of safety and then they create and they can hold more. But you know what? You can hold more of the discomfort as well. And you
Yeah.
don't always going to feel safe in whatever you're doing. But that doesn't mean you are not godlike and made from God and in your greatest
Hmm.
form and the best way you can be.
Exactly. Because it's said in the Bible, and I'm going to butcher this quote, but it's you will find God in the good and in the bad.
Mm.
God is everywhere. So that means you, as the God, are always everywhere, like you were just saying.
I found God in my childhood many times in bad situations,
Mhm.
a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you
Mhm.
for this discussion. Thank you, everyone,
Thanks.
for listening.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Talk to you next week.
Yes.
Kisses.
Bye.